Many thanks for joining us here on News Today to our very first story. And caterers on the National School Feeding Program in the Eastern Region have this morning been demonstrating over what they describe as government's decision to underpay them for work done. Now, majority of caterers on the program have, since the beginning of the week, refused to cook for expectant pupils, despite government's communication that monies due them spanning 38 weeks have been paid, but issues of underpayment have compelled the caterers to demonstrate. Edwin Kofisian is our Eastern Regional correspondent, and well, he was this morning there with these caterers, these aggrieved caterers who embarked on this particular demonstration. We have him on the line now. He's going to tell us a lot more about what has been going on this morning in the Eastern Region. So, Kofi, good morning, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. Tell us what really the concerns of these particular caterers. What are their concerns? Well,
they say that they claim that government is supposed to pay them for 2 terms has been underpaid, and that they were supposed to pay them certain amount of money, but government did not pay them. They also saying that the enrollment structure that was used.
Okay, we seem to have lost Edwin Kofisian on the line there. We can move on and tell you much more about what has been going on this particular one. But indeed, we have also been speaking to quite a number of traders here in the Greater Accra region who also seem to be expressing similar concerns just as those in the Eastern region. I've been speaking to a couple of them on News Desk.
I've fed 510 children and I'm being paid for 240. That is the problem. So until they rectify and correct and pay us the balance for the 38 days they've paid, we are not ready to cook.
But at least some payments have been made. According to what you are saying, some payments have been made. Is it like you are suggesting that probably there was a mistake somewhere? If it was a mistake, why don't you allow them some time to probably rectify the situation?
The problem is they called us. They told us they were going to pay the money with our enrollment.
Okay.
Our correct enrollment. But to our surprise, the enrollment that came is not the correct enrollment. Like as I was saying, I'm being paid for 240 instead of 510. Some have not even got their payment. As I'm speaking to you now, I can give you details, I can give you the numbers. So my problem is, if they know very well that there is a problem, why did they pay us the correct amount previously? If they have any problem with any person or any school, we don't have any problem. But you can't just come on air and tell everybody you've paid 38 days, whilst our suppliers are taking us to court, while our suppliers are harassing us. And at the end of the day, you've come on air that, oh, we've paid them all their arrears, which is not true. So as I'm talking to you now, if you go to Koforibia, the Eastern Regional Capital, they are having a press conference there. As I'm talking to you, we are all there. The caterers are at the residence with the regional minister, with a petition. 90% of us are not cooking because of this problem, because we know what has happened then before. So if they are not ready to pay us the balance of our money, then, my brother, we are afraid we can't cook, because as I'm talking to you, I was sent to court. I am now paying with interest. And at the end of the money has been deducted already. How can I pay those that I'm owing? How am I going to go about it? And it's not happening to me alone. If I give you those other caterers' number, but the problem is, the caterers are afraid to talk. That's why, for a long time, we've not been talking.
Why are you afraid to talk?
Because we've been threatened, if you do this, they'll take your job from you. That is what they've been threatening us with.
If you say they, who are you referring to?
Come again.
If you say that's what they have been telling you, who are the they here? Who are you referring to?
We are referring to the Secretariat.
Have you tried seeking answers from them why it is that, why the case persists that you are being paid a percentage of what really you are due? Have you tried seeking answers?
Brother, we have tried, because we are supposed to report to our desk officers. From there, they take it to the region.
Okay, and what has been the response from the Secretariat?
It was just today, yesterday, when we started talking, that they came out that they sent signals. So I just called my desk officer, and he said, just this morning, they are sending those signals.
So let's go live now once again to the Eastern region, from where our correspondent Edwin Kofi joins us live now over the telephone with a lot more on that particular demonstration by these caterers there. So Kofi, you were telling us initially about what the concerns of these caterers are, and we have also been speaking to quite a number of them. Now, what really do they want done, and what timelines are they given?
Oh, they are saying that the enrollment structure that was used in calculating their claims for 2 terms has been defied, and that they only using that of 2007-2008 academic year, but they expect them, or they insist that they go by the current enrollment structure. So they are saying that if they do not go by it, then it means they've been affected seriously, because some say they went for goods and items from some of the market women and that they've been credited. Some are also saying they've borrowed money from people and that they are on their neck taking their money. So it's really affecting them as a people. That is what they are saying.
Right. Many thanks for that particular update. Edwin Kofi is our Eastern Regional Correspondent, joined us with a lot more on that particular. And let's still stay with this same story. And authorities at the School Feeding Secretariat, meanwhile, tell Joy News the issue has arisen due to an audit conducted to clear the system of bloated figures. Now, he adds, we are told, however, that the Secretariat has put in place measures to address the concerns of caterers who were unduly affected by the exercise. Siba Alpha is coordinator of the National School Feeding Program.
The issue is that late last year, the school feeding moved to Ministry of Gender, Children and Child Protection. As you may be aware, it used to be under the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. So when it came to gender, as part of the reforms that we initiated was to change the payment mode from sending the money to the assemblies to paying the people directly through their, what do you call it, through their mobile phones or e-suite card. And so we procured 2 companies, that's Ghana Interbank Payment Settlement System, GIPS, and then the MTN Mobile Money Services to undertake that assignment. And so we also decided that there were issues with the enrollment figures, so we decided that we're doing auditing of the enrollment figures. So we did the audit, and then we got the results, and then we also took the correct figures that we thought should be from Ghana Education Service, so that we'll be able to sanitize the whole enrollment system. And so as part of that, we found out that some of the figures had reduced. So the teachers would get their monies maybe not the way they were expecting it. And so, knowing very well that some of these issues would come up, we organized 2 workshops for the sector last year, one for the northern sector, one for the southern sector, where we adequately sensitized the teachers that this is what we have done, but the outcome is saying this. Nonetheless, if we do the payment and any caterer or group of caterers feel that they have been underpaid or they have issues with the enrollment figures, we have set up a complaint desk in all the 10 regions, the regional secretariat. In all the 10, we have a secretariat manned by a regional coordinator and regional monitoring officers and some administrative staff. So the caterers should endeavor, those who have issues with that underpayment or enrollment or whatever issues relating to the program, should go to the regional secretariat and give the regional secretariat what they thought they were.
We can now turn our attention to some other stories. And traders at the Kumasi Central Market who had their shops there razed down by fire last week can't begin reconstructing them following the Assembly's decision to give them the go-ahead. Now, fire at the market last week is said to have destroyed several shops and property running into thousands of cedis. Correspondent Erastus Saridonko joins me on phone now with more. So, Erastus, tell us more about this directive by the KMA and really what the situation is on the ground currently.
Well, if you recall, the Assembly has instituted a redevelopment project for the Central Market and the KGTR commercial areas. And so, since this fire came, it was the decision of the Assembly that since they are going to move them within the next 8 months to the KGTR project and then start the Central Market redevelopment, they had wanted them not to reconstruct But then the mayor yesterday said that they can also keep the traders from making ends meet or going into their businesses. And so they are allowing them to reconstruct their stores. But this time around, they are not allowing any permanent structure, any brick or anything that cannot be moved. They can rebuild with wood and roofing sheets, some of which will be provided by the assembly as a way of supporting them, so that in the next 8 months, when the assembly completes the KGTR structure, they will be able to move them onto that one.
Interesting there, but I wonder if you've been able to visit the market today, and what's the situation? Do we even know whether these traders have already begun reconstructing the facilities?
In fact, even before the mayor could give the green light, some of them had already started reconstructing in earnest. Some have built their structures even to the roofing level already. And since the mayor expressed that, decision that they wouldn't allow them to construct the permanent structures, the market women came back to the assembly yesterday trying to impress upon the assembly to give them the right to do so that in future they will not have their structures demolished. And that is why the mayor yesterday said, okay, go ahead, do the construction, but that should be under the supervision of the KMA city engineers, so that you do not do any permanent structure there, and you also do not construct it in such a way that we'll be having more fires even before the traders are moved. But let me also say that with the other fires, which engulf the slum dwellers at Dagumba line, close to Abuabo, the mayor has sent relief items, about 100 mattresses and some plastic cards and mosquito nets and other things to them yesterday, and as they try to also reconstruct their homes at the close to the Abuabo lane.
Many thanks for that update. Erastus Asaidonko, our correspondent in the Ashanti region, bringing us a lot more on that particular story. And away from that, let's turn our attention to power and maintenance work at the Ghana Gas processing plant at Tutuabo would deprive thermal plants in the Abuadi enclave the fuel they need to generate electricity for the 2 weeks that the exercise would last. Now, though this could result in a return of the severe load shedding that the country has become used to for the last 4 years, officials say alternate fuel has been procured to power the plants for the period to avert a worsening of the crisis. Now, managers of the country's power sector briefed journalists about the impending shutdown of the gas processing plant and its implication at a news conference on Wednesday.
As journalists gathered at the conference room of the Power Ministry here in Accra, one question lingered on many minds. What is the state of Ghana's power situation? The Ghana Gas Company had announced last week that our Tutuabo gas plant would undergo mandatory maintenance works, which could result in a shortfall of about 600 megawatts in electricity generation.
We commissioned VRA to do some projections for us so that we can plan towards the future. And it may interest you to note that the VRA is indicated that we require about $98 million per annum. And please, let me repeat this, $98 million. That is almost $100 million per month, not per annum, sorry, per month. Let me reiterate that, per month, to procure fuel for the thermal plants. This translates into $1.18 billion per annum. And if you do the conversion in cedis, that takes you to about 4.5 billion Ghana cedis for this year alone. And so we have to work very hard and tirelessly towards raising revenue to the tune of about 4.5 billion cedis this year to procure fuel for the various thermal plants. Because the Akosombo Dam today runs at about 30% of its rated capacity. And taking into account the El Nino effect, it clearly tells us that from a policy point of view, we have to be preparing towards procuring more fuel for the thermal plants.
But this news conference was mainly to allay fears. According to the chief executive of the Ghana Great Company, William Amuna, the VRA had procured over 600,000 barrels of crude oil to keep the power plants running within the period, assuring that current supply levels should not be affected.
We have heard in the news that very soon Ghana Gas will be due for mandatory maintenance. That is supposed to take about 2 weeks. Now, if that happens, we could be losing over 600 megawatts because the plants in Abuazi run on gas from Ghana Gas. Now, we have put in place measures to ensure that adequate supply is maintained during this period. Now, during the period, VRA is going to run on light crude oil. And VRA has already procured 600,000 barrels of light crude oil that will be used to run the plants in Abuazi in order that we don't have any shortfall in generation for Abuazi during the period.
It's not clear when the current power crisis would be over, but at least the current situation, which the ministry itself describes as dicey, is unlikely to be affected by the shutdown expected at Atuabo at the close of this week.
And that was a report put together by my colleague Justice Beidou. You're still watching News Today here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. We're taking a break. The news returns shortly. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Today. We can do some more stories now. And the opposition New Patriotic Party has disputed claims by the Electoral Commission suggesting they did not provide evidence on the citizenship status of alleged Togolese names on the current voters register. Now, at a media briefing a while ago, the party's campaign chairman, Peter McMenu, described the EC's claim as mind-boggling and one not in the interest of credible polls.
Parties, MPP, are major stakeholders in elections. So if the EC is to hire any consultant to do any work, on particularly register, biometric, etc., at least the consultants should even come and interview us to interrogate us for our views and take it on board. That's only fair. But this was never done. We don't know his name. We don't know where he was contracted and where he came from. And we don't even know his report. That is it. We have not yet seen the audit report, so we cannot critique what it says. Indeed, whilst the Electoral Commission chair was happily announcing to the world that an audit of the biometric voters register has been done, the auditor himself was saying it would take 3 months to do a proper audit. In his words, when he appeared before the panel, the auditor appeared before the panel at the EC's office on November 17, and this is what he said, that Ghana, and I quote, must find means of addressing the underlying issues of a bloated register. We quoted this from his discussion with the panel. And that's what I continue to quote from the consultant. In Kenya, the auditing process was completed within a period of 3 months. And if that is exactly what the EC may consider, it should not wait any longer. Unquote. To him, the work that he was contracted to do for the EC fell far short of that kind of audit that the EC needs. Because in Kenya, it was done by a civil society group. And the EC of Kenya, known as IEBC, gave the civil society group an unfettered information and unfettered access to documents. That's how an audit is done. It's not you, the person who is to be audited, who calls yourself and gets somebody. So the person who comes, you just give him the documents, the information, access to the books, like he's done in any external audit. Then he will give you the questionnaire, look at the information and the documents you give him. And then his audit report will come and tell whether your final product is good, better, or worse. That's the way it is done. And that's exactly what the EC consultant is saying to the panel. The MPP wishes to serve notice to the Electoral Commission that we will have difficulties accepting the consultants' work as constituting a credible, comprehensive, independent, competent, and conclusive audit of Ghana's biometric voters register. What will ordinarily suffice is an open international tender for a credible NIST, which is the National Institute of Standards and Technology certified AFIS info system auditing expert to undertake this important task, and in the presence of technical agents of all political parties.
Now, Minister for Foreign Affairs Hannah Tete has reassured that the 2 ex-Guantanamo Bay detainees pose no security threats to the country. She's also dispelled rumors that government has taken money in exchange for these 2 former inmates of Guantanamo Bay. She gave the reassurance in an interview on an Accra-based radio station, 3FM.
Based on his reports, we then had national security, again, do further investigations into the matter. It was after a lot of exchanges on our parts. And when I say exchanges, because we requested for documentation, it was provided. Requests were made to go and have discussions with the detainees. The opportunity was given, that the decision was taken that this was a risk that we could manage. And so of the 3 that we had been requested to take, we were of the view that there were 2 of them who did not, from all indications, pose the kind of threats that could not be managed by Ghana in response to the request from the United States. So yes, we did. These were 2 men who had been, both of them actually, had been influenced by Al-Qaeda at about the same time in June 2001. At that time, they were 21 years old. Yeah. They were exposed to some of these radicalization videos. They were then recruited to go and fight in Afghanistan. They were not soldiers. They were not people with any military background whatsoever. So they went through a process of training for about 6 weeks. And then after that, they joined the Taliban in fighting the U.S. In November, their units, again, not at the same time, but both of them in November of 2001 were captured. So from the point in time in which they started this part of their life, June 2001, November 2001, literally in a period of 4 months, that part of their lives were over, and for 14 years they'd been in detention. And from everything that I have seen from the subsequent discussions that were held and subsequent visits and exchange of documents and interrogation, it seemed that these were people who had done this in a fit of what you call youthful exuberance, had in their minds 14 years of their lives taken away from them as a result, and their interest was just to move on with their lives. The assessment that was given to us by the U.S., what I saw was that over the last couple of years, they had been described as very compliant. Indeed, one of them was described as the most compliant with.
And that was the Foreign Affairs Minister, Hannah Tete, speaking to an Accra-based radio station, 3FM, in that particular interview. Time now for some business here on News Today. And Emmanuel joins me shortly after these messages. So let's talk business now, and here's Emmanuel with all the cash as usual. And I'm told
yes.
Sikana landed.
It's landed. Yesterday I told you Ghana was going for a review, the second review
of the IMF review.
Exactly.
Okay.
And after everything, it came out that we had qualified for yet the 3rd tranche of the money, a little over 115 million US dollars.
I'm just hoping it reflects in my pocket. Really.
But the bad thing is that the IMF is warning us that our economic woes are not far from over yet. So despite the monies, don't
after everything, I thought they said we were sticking to all the things we were supposed to stick to.
Yes, but it looks like we still have a long way to go to conclude whatever problems that we have.
I'm sure you have a lot more for us then.
Yes, sure.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much for joining me on Joy Business. The country's economic challenges might not be over anytime soon. That is the warning coming from the IMF board after meeting yesterday to review Ghana's performance under the fund program. Despite its concerns about the economy, the board has approved the disbursement of some $115 million. George Wiafe has more on the other issues raised by the board.
In approving the funds for Ghana, the board, however, noted that it had to give Ghana a waiver for not meeting one of the targets set under the program for the second half of 2015 when it came to the payment of external arrears. Joy Business is also learning that the country had some challenges in meeting some of the targets, which forced the board of the IMF to move their review meeting from December 2015 to January 13 this year. Joy Business is also learning that the fund is having some serious concerns on how the program is going so far. But a source close to government has told Joy Business that they are working hard to address all these concerns. The acting chair of the IMF board and deputy managing director of the fund, Minju, also noted that government must do more to check its rising expenditure, adding that ambitious reforms are needed to help achieve this. The acting board chair also adds that the Bank of Ghana should be prepared to hike policy rate to check inflation, which is on the increase. He, however, added that there is a need for the Bank of Ghana to fast-track the implementation of a new banking law to safeguard the entire financial sector.
Well, so in a related development, the IMF says it is satisfied with Ghana's progress in meeting most of the targets set under the program. Joel Tuja-Pane has been throwing more light on this from Washington, D.C. in the U.S.
The authorities have indeed strengthened their policies to stabilize the economy under the program. In particular, the fiscal adjustment program, very ambitious in 2015, has been on track with expenditure restraint and efforts to increase revenue collection while protecting social spending. And the authorities also made some progress in structural reforms, which are very important to sustain the gains achieved so far.
Now away from the IMF. Now the Minister for Trade and Industry, Dr. Ekos Piogabra, has hinted some banks may soon be regulated differently to support private businesses in the country. According to him, his ministry has been engaging the Bank of Ghana in this bid and as part of measures to address the challenges businesses face with securing credit. He explained the move, which is to involve mainly development banks, would ensure the specific needs of industry are effectively met. He revealed this to Joy Business at the annual general meeting of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
There's a view by a number of financial, banking and economic experts that at least two state-owned banks, which were set up in the 1960s with a very specific mandate to support agriculture, in the case of the Agricultural Development Bank, and to support industry, in the case of the National Investment Bank, by virtue of the fact that they've become what is generally known as universal banks, they've gotten universal banking licenses, have veered from those original mandates and are now trying to just make profits based on just general, banking as well as mostly import and export transactions, rather than medium to longer term lending, which is what industry and agriculture require. If you are going to grow a crop, whether it's coffee, rubber, cocoa, cashews and mangoes, most of those crops take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years to mature and then to be harvested and to be processed, etc. So if you go to a bank which is only willing to give you 180-day money, or at best 1 year money, how do you use that for agricultural investment or agro-industry?
Now, inflation rate has seen a marginal increase of 0.1% to record 17.7% in December, compared with the 17.6% recorded in the previous month. So what are the main drivers for the marginal increase in inflation for December? Government statistician Philomena Nyako has been addressing the media. Meanwhile, about $116 million of IMF funds has hit the Bank of Ghana's account.
Overall, the inflation rate for December 2015 was 17.7%, and the monthly change rate was 1.1%. And then when you look at the components of the inflation rate, we have food having an inflation rate of 8.0%, and non-food 23.3%. And we also saw that the imported items had an inflation rate of 18.3%, compared to the November one of 18.6%. And the locally produced items had an inflation rate of 17.5%.
I find it quite intriguing that December, for instance, where we were in the U-tide, a lot of things being imported, it didn't, go much higher. It's quite intriguing.
Yeah, the impact of the December activities will be reflected in the January release, January 2016 release.
And that's it for business for the afternoon. Thanks very much for your company. More business come your way on Joy News Prime at 7 p.m. My name is Emmanuel.atani.
So time now for some sports on news today, and here's Benedict also bringing us the very latest.
Yes, the very latest, and I can't do the sports without talking to you about your Manchester United. Oh! Obviously, wait, before you even come in, I want to let you know that I think you're on the right path, but your next game is against a club that you yourself, you can't beat. Oh! You know that team I'm talking about?
Well, I haven't checked the fixtures.
Okay,
and I don't want to know anyway.
It's against Liverpool.
Just give us.
It's against Liverpool, and you are playing at Anfield.
Okay. Give us the news.
All right, okay. So first, we start with some local news, and defender Samuel Nkum says playing alongside Africa's most decorated player, Samuel Eto'o will give him the needed verve to deliver a Turkish side anti-Aspor. Now, Eto'o, who recently held the position of a player manager at the club, was influential in Nkum's move to the Turkish club. Nkum makes this move after a brief stint with Bastia, Platinias, DAC United in America, and also Boavista in Portugal over a 2-year period. The 26-year-old right-back is looking forward to earning a regular playing time and helping the club to record results in the Turkish league.
I'm very happy to play with Samuel Eto'o. Everybody know how Eto'o is. He has been incredible for the past few years, and me playing with him is a lot of achievement. And I'm here to help the team as well. So I think the most important thing is that I need to stay focused, train hard, and be mentally strong, and pray to God that every game I'll play, I will do my best. And I believe in God that everything will go well for me this season.
So that was Samuel Nkum, and wish him all the best there at his new club, Antalyaspor in Turkey. Now, Ghana Football Association President Kwesi Nyantakyi has revealed he was very disappointed when Black Stars Deputy Captain Andre Ayew missed the African Footballer of the Year award to Gabonese Emerick Aubameyang. Now, Yaya Toure, former Black Stars defender Samuel Sekofo, and also Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan have all condemned the award, insisting that the winner did not deserve to win it. Now, Nyantakyi, who attended the ceremony in his capacity as a CAF Executive Committee member, says he was shocked Andre didn't win the award.
I was very, very disappointed. I had done an analysis of the 3 shortlisted finalists, and I thought that based on performance at the AFCON, Andre did well. He was the top scorer in AFCON, and then coupled with his brilliance at the EPL, I thought that he deserved or he could win. So when we went and they announced Yaya Toure as the first runner-up, I thought Andre was the winner because I saw Yaya Toure as most credible person to offer any opposition to Andre Ayew. It became a tragedy for me when they announced that Andre Ayew was the 3rd person. It was like a dream to me. I didn't believe that I was sitting in that hall and not seeing Andre as the winner.
Time now for some entertainment. Here is Gladys Osei-Redu bringing us a lot more. Hi, Gladys.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm good, actually.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm okay. Just that I'm feeling like a celebrity.
Oh.
I'm going to talk about celebrities.
But you are a celebrity anyway.
Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. If that is what you think, then I am. So I've got to behave like them, and right. So, but have you heard the movie Guantanamo Fulcrum?
Yeah, I think I saw it on social media. I've been seeing it over the past few weeks. I think it's been a week now or so.
And it's featuring
That guy, what's his name? Acrobato.
Acrobato.
Yes.
Okay, you said it in English. It's Acrobato. Okay. All right. It turns out that it is just a prank. Oh. Somebody out there has anticipated that they definitely would come up with a movie for Guantanamo Fulcrum. So the person went on to do the graphics as you see it. And but in actual sense, there is no movie like that. And perhaps it's yet to happen. But otherwise, you can look forward to Guantanamo Fulcrum 1 and 2, which I am also very certain that it will come from Kumawood. So the information is that there's no movie like that.
There's
so
no such movie.
Don't be fooled. There's none like that yet.
But would you watch a movie like that?
Guantanamo Fulcrum. Once I know the story, I don't really need to sit and watch another movie.
Oh. Maybe, I mean, because
would you watch a movie like that?
Oh, I would be. I mean, it would be interesting to know how really they would.
Then I am so sure you definitely want to catch up with Shatta Wale, who is coming up with his first movie.
Shatta Wale?
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about really now. What I want to tell you is that he eventually has gone to enter his songs for the Ghana Music Awards this year. Finally. He knows. I don't tell it at a few Shatta Wale. He knows how to apologize and get back with you. When he's done...
So he's wanted another apology?
By all means. He's done his private work. He's done his private apologies. And now he's gone to Shatta House to file his music for this year's awards.
But what's going to happen? Because I remember earlier, Shatta House had mentioned that because of how he had reacted to certain things...
Well, George Quaye, I just want to know what George Quaye has to say about this one. But he definitely is not very enthused, Shatta is saying that one. But well, he doesn't own it. It's for the people of Ghana.
True.
But we can listen to Shatta, what he said when he turned in his songs for the awards this year.
Well, I came to submit my forms for the music awards, which I feel I qualified to, and so I was just doing it because of the fans, because my fans were like, we should submit it this year, so at least we could, go to VGMAs as well. So I came here basically to submit my forms.
All right, and how did it go?
It went well. It went well.
I'll be your leader forever and ever. I'll be your teacher.
There you have him. You can look forward to one of the songs from Shatta Wale picking up an award this year at the Ghana Music Awards sometime in May. Politicians are getting more, coming on board, and the entertainment industry is growing and understanding the need to enter into active politics. We've had a lot more people from the industry coming on board, the likes of Abeku Santana. We have, a lot more coming on. The latest to join is Salinko. Salinko tells us he is so much in love with the PPP flag bearer, and that is what inspires him more to enter into active politics, this time contesting for a seat as MP.
I can do big and better for my constituency. Through MPship, I learned, or I know I can do something better. And being a good patriotic person, I followed Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndium since the Fourth Republic of Ghana when he was CPP flag bearer. I love him because of his good works he has been doing and done for Ghana. This man has tried many times in terms of being a president of Ghana. Hence, he's not getting it. But still, he do good for Ghana. So I love him since my infancy. And now I've had the chance to stand for him as an MP on his behalf.
And that'll be it for news today this afternoon. My name is Kwabna Chenchen Heneboating. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Enjoy the rest of our bulletins.